Welcome everyone to imaginativevisions.com. This is Across the Pond slash movie talk. Justin here, and today we have another film from our friends across the pond over there in the UK. A film that I was actually really anticipating once I saw it, the trailer. We're talking about Finding Emily. So, as always, I give you a brief synopsis. So let's get into it. So here we go. Love sick musician is given the wrong number from his dream girl, he teams up with a driven psychology student to find her. Together, they spark a hilarious campus-wide frenzy that tests their own hearts' ambitions along the way. This was honestly very refreshing, and I really, really enjoyed it. So let's talk a little bit first about the story, the acting, and some issues that I've had with the film. So let's get into it. Romantic comedies have never really gone away, but sometimes it feels like the genre has forgotten how to simply be charming. And Finding Emily understands that there's nothing wrong with giving audiences a sweet, funny love story built around likable characters and a premise that allows them to spend time together. Directed by Alicia MacDonald and written by Rachel Hirons, the film stars Angourie Rice and Spike Fearn in a modern day campus romance that takes a familiar formula and gives it enough personality to feel refreshing. The story follows Owen, a young musician who meets a young woman named Emily and believes there may be something special between them. There's only one problem: the phone number she gives him is wrong, and he is determined to find her. Owen eventually crosses paths with another Emily, a psychology student, Emily Rain, who agrees to help him with his search. What starts as one guy trying to reconnect with someone quickly becomes something much more larger around campus. And that is as far as I'm going to go when it comes to the actual story, because it's something that I want you guys to watch. Now, what I will say I do enjoy about the film is that there's this sense of sincerity here. The movie is not embarrassed about being a romantic comedy. It wants you to laugh. It wants you to become invested in these characters. And yes, it wants you to believe that romance can still exist, even in a generation where dating, social media, public perception, and overthinking can make something as simple as liking another person ridiculously complicated. And there's some commentary underneath everything about how people view romance and relationships today, but the movie never allows that material to completely overwhelm the lighter tone that the story is trying to tell. And to be honest with you, if I could describe the tone, describe the vibes, one of my favorite rom coms starring Michael Cera and Kat Dennett will be Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. It's not nothing. It's that vibe of following two people, two characters through a type of quest is what I just it brought me back to those type of rom-coms and those feels. And I felt that the two leads have amazing chemistry here, especially Spike portraying Owen and Angourie portraying Emily here. You can see the chemistry between the two characters, but I will say this in terms of story. It does, and this is probably my disappointment in this, is that it does become predictable pretty quickly, because if you know romantic comedies, if you know rom-coms, then you kind of can guess where the ending is going to be heading. And while the ending is telegraphed, and while the film is predictable, there's still a lot of charm here and enough here for you to enjoy the ride, because Owen gets put through a lot in this film. Like, there's a lot of things that this man does to find this girl Emily, and he's gone through a lot of humiliation, a lot of embarrassment to try to find the woman that he has fallen in love with from this one night. And I like, you're watching and you're just rooting and hoping for the best for this guy. And I love how the film also says that is this like they have this question throughout the whole film. It's like, is this really romantic or is this something that's completely creep vibes, stalker vibes? And I love how they address it and how things like you get various women's perspective on this particular subject. And I thought that was done well. But let's talk a little bit more about the chemistry between the actors. Angourie Rice and Spike Fearn are the biggest reasons this movie works. Rice gives Emily enough intelligence, confidence, and emotional distance that you understand why she approaches Owen and romance the way she does. And she could have easily become like the stereotypical skeptic romantic lead, but she gives her some personality, and Fern is equally likable as Owen because there's this earnest to him that fits the type of story. He's romantic without feeling like a complete caricature, and his enthusiasm gives the movie much of its energy. And most importantly, they have good chemistry together. You're going to enjoy watching them talk, argue, and challenge each other's perspectives. And that chemistry is essential because this entire movie depends on them and depends on the audience wanting to see them spend time together. And what I would like to say though is that as predictable as I said the movie is, it does fall into it's not falling into like the fatal romantic comedies where you're gonna be like, I know the ending, I know what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna cut it off midway. It's such a well written script and well acted film that even if you know the ending, you are still going to want to see how it ends. And you want to see all the beats that's leading up to the ending that you could kind of predict. And I will honestly say that I enjoyed the ride with this film. So that being said, we are going to bring up our popcorn meter here. As you all know, we have overflowing bucket, full bucket, half bucket, few kernels, and empty bucket. I'm going to give Finding Emily. I'm gonna give it a full bucket. I really did enjoy this film. I thought it was well done. I thought the actors did a hell of a job. My gripe honestly is just it's very very predictable, but even with this predictability there was just this enough breath of fresh air within this genre that I was just really enjoying the ride, and I was rooting for Owen the entire time, and just rooting for these characters the entire time because I ain't dwell too much on Emily as well because that would have been spoiler territory. But Emily has her own stuff that she has to deal with in terms of her views on love and acts and things like that. That coincides with Owen's journey and things of that nature. But I thought that this was well shot, well directed, um, good script, a little predictable, but I'm gonna give this a full bucket because it is a very satisfying watch and it's a breath of fresh air. This is Justin from ImaginativeVisions.com. This has been Across the Pond / Movie Talk. What did you think of Finding Emily? Comment below. Let me know if you like what we do here. Hopefully, you earned your subscription. So please hit the like button, subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. And I'll catch you on the next review. Later days.